Hello and welcome to this screencast, which is all about tying together the materials and the expectations for assignment number 3. This is the Freakonomics Reading Reaction assignment for Research 1, and this is Guy Glidden. And so let's get started right away because this will provide you with a way of putting together the resources. So basically, let's go over this and kind of give you an overview. I've assigned this book called Freakonomics, and you should all know all about that right now, as a text for this book because I think it's a great example and illustration on the directory of completed research articles on lots of different topics, including a large number that are directly related to education. So I think it's a great opportunity for you to look at something that's readable. The articles are interest, the topics are of interest. At least I think you should find some things in there. And then you're going to be able to use this to learn a little bit about research methodology. So let's get on with the process here. So here's a guide as a general guideline of what I think you should do to get to the study. Number 1, scan the book and take stock of the topics to get a flavor for the approach of the articles. It's a relatively easy read and it shouldn't take long. I'm not suggesting that you read it in a detailed fashion, the entire book, that you're not memorizing content, you're getting a lay of the land. So you may kind of scan some of the sections and some you might find more interest. Okay, then I have a document which I will show you in a little bit that I put together called Primary Sources for Freakonomics. And this is a document that I created that provides a complete set of primary source documents for Freakonomics sections that can be obtained at no cost on the intersection. And these are organized by sections of the book, and they all have provided links. So in short, every topic that's covered by this book is cross-referenced to a primary resource or research article or set of articles. So everything that's covered in this book is cross-referenced. So if you question the methodology of the authors, question their sources of data, it's totally transparent in that they created a book so you can check everything out there. And then with the help of this, and you're going to select 2 sections of the book that will serve as the basis for your tasks on this assignment. Now, before I go further, let me clarify the resources that you're going to have available for your use to complete this assignment. One is the rubric and the guide for this assignment. It's available in the Moodle under assignment number 3, Freakonomics Reading and Reaction Guide and Rubric. Easy to find, shouldn't have any problem. Obviously, number 2, you got to have a copy of the book, and we've already covered that a little bit, I think. This is a paperback book. It's readily available at bookstores, or you can get it online. The last time I checked, they were selling this book at a reduced cost of less than $10 a copy. So it's not very expensive. You can also get it if you are into electronic reading tools. You can get it downloaded to an electronic reading tool if you want to do that, like a Kindle or as an example. Third, I've put together a set of, this is a 2-page document which provides notes and index of the placement of research articles. So this notes and index document is a quick and dirty guide to help you locate resources and documents, because the 4th item on this list that you're looking at, primary sources, is about an 11-page document. Now what I've done in primary sources is I've gone through every section of the Freakonomics book, and I have carefully and painstakingly checked on availability of free articles on the internet. So every article that I have included in primary sources is something that I've already verified that I can get it and I can download it. I can read it in a reader, or I can make copies if I so choose to do that, of every article that's identified in primary sources. So you've got 4 guides, and I would imagine that the 3 main things you're going to look at is, number 1, look at the assignment rubric and guide. That'll give you the lay of the land, and we're going to look at those questions in just a minute. The book, you're going to have the book, and then this primary sources guide is really going to be helpful to you, because you can use that and go directly to links to find the articles you need to complete the assignments. Here is a guide to what's going to be required for the assignment. So you're going to do this for 2 topics in the Freakonomics book, and I'll give you an illustration in just a minute. So you're going to look at the book and you're going to review this in relationship to the concept of conventional wisdom. Remember, these guys have a premise, and they say conventional wisdom isn't always right, and it needs to be verified with a research review. Then you're going to look for sources of data, and well, first of all, you're going to do this on the topic, and then you're going to, based on that, you're going to locate the topic, you're going to read the section in the Freakonomics book, and then you're going to locate and get your link to one of these primary source documents that's identified for your use for this purpose. So that's going to be, so when you're doing this and you're answering these questions, you're looking at really 3 sources. Number 1, what's the general tone of the book and the chapter on this issue, using conventional wisdom as your source? Number 2, what's the tone and information provided in the specific section in Freakonomics on this topic? And finally, number 3, what is the tone and what is the specific information that you're going to draw from the in-depth survey or study that you're going to use, that was used as the basis of this? Then you're going to look at sources of data. And again, this doesn't specify which source, but you're going to ask some data questions. What was the data that was used to examine the issue? So everything here is identified in terms of data. What's the source of the data? Where did they get the data? They make a big deal on looking for primary source data. So look at this with these lenses. And what explanation is provided to justify this source of data? Then I want you to generalize. Does this study have any meaning for you in terms of outcomes of the study as explained by the authors? And then also I want you to look at it over the top of their shoulder at the way they collected data, because a lot of you have developed ideas that are going to kind of encourage you to look for ways to organize data for your studies. So you always want to read research articles to see if you can get clues on methodology, and I'm going to encourage you to do this. Okay, secondly, then the next thing down, you're going to create a broad outline. I don't mean broad outline, I don't mean specific details, like a timeline or a sequence outline, and it doesn't even require complete sentences. Topic indexes are fine. And finally, I want you to compare the primary article with the section of the book for accuracy and clarity. Let's put the authors, Levitt and Dubner, to the same test I want to put you to. They are making a point in a book. The book is a summary of basic research articles. When you read the research article that is supposedly the basis of this, does it reflect the same message that they're going to get in the book? So these are the things I want you to look at when you're doing a cross comparison in this assignment. Now here's my illustration just to show you the sources. I went to chapter 2. Chapter 2 is what do school teachers and sumo wrestlers have in common? And that's the main section of the book. You're going to be able to find that pretty easily, and you're going to be able to read that in some interest, and but I'm going to look specifically at the section of teacher cheating, because Levitt in particular looks specifically at one is involved in a major research study to uncover teacher cheating. And this was a big author I studied. As a matter of fact, a good friend of mine, a lady by the name of Carol Perlman, that I've known for years and who was the director of testing in the Chicago Public Schools, is cross-referenced in this article in view of some efforts that she tried to take at a later point in time to uncover some teacher cheating issues. And this teacher cheating article was actually authorized by a gay guy that you now know, because Arnie Duncan, who was then the superintendent in Chicago and is now the U.S. Department of Education Secretary, cabinet member was a person who authorized this study. So it's a big deal. And then finally, I'm going to find the primary source article, and you may not want to download the whole thing. It's pretty lengthy. It's got a lot of details in it. So you're going to be able to go through. Now, there are some squiggles that are some formulas you don't need to worry about. You need to look at the narrative about the direction that they're going to go through. So what did they do to kind of get a line on where the teachers might be found who are cheating? And some of those things are pretty obvious. Obviously, you look for inconsistencies in data. And they provided a couple of examples of that. So they did that, and they looked at some things, and they provided some pretty good examples of what did these teachers do to cheat. I might add, this is an editorial comment on the part of your instructor, but I think in some of these cases, these teachers probably spent more time and energy cheating than it would have taken them to do a good job of teaching, but that's just a judgment call on my part. And then what did they find out? Well, my view of the article was, where's their teaching, easy for you to say, going place when these tests were administered or were given in Chicago? You betcha. Was it widespread? Well, what do you mean by widespread? Yes, there were cases in the hundreds, but remember, we're talking about thousands and thousands of teachers. So yes, there were cases. There were teachers that were systematic about it, but not every teacher cheated. And it seems to me, you can look for it, that Levitt and Jacob, the other primary author of this article called Rotten Apples, were able to get a pretty good line and pattern. The comforting thing seems to me, there's not much evidence that outstanding master teachers were engaged in cheating at all. They knew what they were doing and they went about doing it. The people who were cheating had some problems. So that might give us some clues for what do we need to do in order to try to help the situation. So here's this is just an illustration, so here's a little background. Now all of these materials, including this video, are going to be downloaded on the Moodle pretty quickly, so you're going to have a basis for starting to work on assignment number 3 for this course. Thank you very much.